Hey, welcome back to another recap. Anders and myself will be doing the Week 3 recap for PTG Draft League Season 4 now.
Hello and welcome back for joining us again.
So, red leaderboard here. We haven't seen too much of a change in the leaderboard. Simiwinny Sears is still at the top, undefeated, 3-0. But some of the differentials are starting to really spread out, and as you can see, especially with 6 teams all on the exact same standings, those differentials are mattering at the moment, but we'll see how that goes further on in the season.
Or have like 6 like that is crazy. So it all just comes down to the differential. And I think half of them that have put, Kasim has put at least 2 of them into that big negative differential, the +8 difference from Kasim. That's just from the last 2 match. Remember, in the first match, he was 0 alongside me. So 0-0. And he's ended up with a +8 differential. It's just crazy.
So this week we saw the Birmingham Buzzwolves versus the Mid-Valley Meows coming away with a 1-0. The Atlanta Braveries versus the Simiwinny Sears. Simiwinny Sears coming away with a 4-0 win. The Lionheart Lucarios going down to the Mighty Psyducks just by 1 mon. The Gippsland Garbadors versus the Blazing Torchics. This was a bit of a wash, 5-0. And then the Utah Muse versus the San Diego Wingulls at a respectable 3-0 win to the San Diego Wingulls.
Both the revenge matches happened this week. If you remember, at the end of last week, we discussed how I had never beaten Jay in the draft format before in the last 3 drafts, and I finally came out with that win, 4-0. Really happy with that. And of course, the Lionheart Lucarios, last time they faced BAM, they beat BAM quite badly. This was after BAM's winning streak, so he managed to get his revenge here as well.
Only just snuck it in, though.
Yeah, just snuck it in.
Next week, we've got the Simiwinny Sears versus the Birmingham Buzzwolves, the Mighty Psyducks off against the Mid-Valley Meows, the Blazing Torchics versus the Atlanta Braveries, San Diego Wingulls versus the Lionheart Lucarios, and the Utah Muse versus the Gippsland Garbadors. What are your thoughts on the matches ahead for Red Division?
So I'll try and give predictions. Of course, some matches have technically happened at the point of recording, so I won't say anything about them. I'm a little bit worried about Buzz. I've been trialing quite a lot. So I'm 50-50 on how that will go down. The Mid-Valley Meows versus the Mighty Psyducks. I think Dev has drafted slightly better this draft than BAM has. So I would put it, Devon is likely to win this one, I think. The Mid-Valley Meows. Blazing Torchics versus the Atlanta Braveries. It could go either way, but I'm leaning towards Jay. And then the last 2 matches have happened, and I have watched them, so I can't give any spoilers.
The Blue Division, we have 2 people still undefeated and 1 person still without a win. Not as much of a spread on the leaderboard on this side, and but still early in the season, and we'll see where it goes. We had the Fire Corviknights versus the Ottawa Superiors, just sneaking the win in with a 1-0. The PKS Noobs Kings versus the Sneaky Sableyes, a respectable 3-0 win there. The Season 2 champ and last season's runner-up, the Nevada County Caterpies versus the Anaheim Appletons. Very close match, this one. Ended up a 3-2 win to the Nevada County Caterpies. The Ankara Arcanines and the Bow Russian Boltons. Ankara Arcanines also sneaking in just in there with a 3-2 win to Timer. And then the Dragonites versus the Holy Crusaders with a 3-0 win there.
So it was really close, a lot of these matches on the blue side this round.
We had some very tight matches in this round for the Blue Division as well. So seeing Season 2's champion coming back in with a vengeance. We saw him last week. He just absolutely nailed it, and this week's really shown. We had two very solid teams for that battle, and yeah, the experience on both sides really showed why these two are both contenders to look out for in the coming weeks.
He's done exactly what I said he would do. He went from the very last place, taking over week 1, and he's gone all the way up to 3rd now within just 2 weeks.
The only reason why he's not any higher is simply because he ended up having to take over someone else's team with a -6 differential to start with.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Ankara Arcanines and PKS Nuke Kings are both very seasoned players as well, very experienced. This is roughly how I expected the leaderboards to look on the blue side. If you was to ask my prediction, I guess the one thing I'm a little bit surprised by is the Ottawa Superiors. They did so well last season, and they're certainly not doing bad. But my prediction was he was going to be up there alongside people like Andy and Leo, and he's just not doing as well this round.
It's still early season, and he's only got a -1 differential there, so he could definitely bring it back with a vengeance mid to late season as well.
For
so
sure.
He's definitely not out for the count here. No one is really, but you
only
can
week 3.
see which ones are going to be sitting quite comfortably at the top by the end at this point, and which ones are hot contenders to make their way up into those other spots.
Just like the red division, the whole last half of the list is basically to fight for. Anyone from position 5 to 9, or even 10 could work their way up with a bunch of wins. So as we say, it's only week 3, but the differential of the first 2 is so high.
Yeah. So round 4 next week, we've got the Sneaky Sableyes versus the Fire Corviknights, the Nevada County Caterpies battling the Ottawa Superiors, Ankara Arcanines versus the PKS Noobs Kings, the Holy Crusaders versus the Anaheim Appletons, and the Dragonites versus the Bow Russian Boltons. I'm really looking forward to seeing Andy again. I always enjoy watching his battles. I can't comment on one of these because the battle's already happened and we have watched it already, so I can't comment on that one. There's a couple where there's at least one battle here where I'm pretty sure I know exactly who's going to win. But the rest, the battle lineups here should be quite interesting for the last ones that for this week in general.
What would your predictions be? Since I did the predictions of red, I would like to hear your predictions for the blue of this round, excluding the one we've seen, of course.
Yeah. I think the first one, the Sneaky Sableyes versus the Fire Corviknights, is going to be fairly tight. I'm going to lean probably towards the Sneaky Sableyes. I'm pretty sure, Andy's up there as Season 2 champion, Season 3 runner-up, so I'm expecting the Nevada County Caterpies to come away with a win. I'm not counting Vincent out at all, but I'm definitely sort of sitting more in Andy's camp there. I will not comment on the Ankara Arcanines and the PKS Noobs Kings, because that's the one we have seen. And it both went the way I was half expecting, and also the way I was hoping it would not go. I am definitely expecting the Anaheim Appletons to come out on top against the Holy Crusaders, just from past records with Hassan's team. I think overall, just his team's not going to match up to the Appletons. And
the Appletons have been playing really well as well. So
yeah, exactly. And I'm probably going to lean on Jeremy, the Dragonites, coming ahead of Akin, but I think it's still going to be a tight one there. It'd be interesting to see if there's an upset there.
Yeah. I think it's a very equal match.
Yeah.
I want to see your Mr. Rhyme Anders do some work.
All right, so the very first battle for the Red Division for this week was the Birmingham Buzzwolves versus the Mid-Valley Meows. This one came down to a 1-0 win. It was, a very tight match there.
Losing Skamori was the biggest thing in the match, in my opinion. When Skamori went down, and I believe that was to Reelaboom, it just allowed Buzzwolves to have the upper hand there, I think. I'm not 100% sure if he could have done much to keep it alive, but it most definitely would have had Roost. And there is some Pokemon here it would have been able to come in on, like Ordino, which didn't die till later. But it may have been able to get some Roosts up and then get itself healthy so it can start walling the rest of the team again. But the Reelaboom was definitely the MVP of the match because aside from Reelaboom, it was mostly Devon in control.
Just trying to have a look at my notes here. Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly how this match went. No, I've lost it for this one.
Do you want me to send you my kill list?
No, that's all good. Was there anything else you wanted to say about this one?
No, I think I pretty much covered everything for this particular match.
Yeah. We'll move on to the next one there. Sorry. I've had a bit of a rough week this week, so I haven't kept many of the matches in my head. But we do have your match, the Simiwinny Sears versus the Atlanta Braveries. Respectable 4-0 win there. I thought this match would be a bit tighter than it was, but I am happy that you managed to get your comeback match to go the way that you wanted it to.
Yeah, for sure. I just love Toxicroak. It's such an MVP. Like, it did so much work versus Scotty, and then it's done so much work here. Definitely really happy. Togedemaru and Toxicroak coming in as two of my favorite C tiers. Really loving them as Pokemon.
Yeah. I think my biggest
you
criticism
encouraging.
about this match was I think you sacked Togedemaru, and I said this in the match when I commentated as well. You sacked Togedemaru when you could have really kept it around to just let other mons injure themselves on it, because you had Rocky Helmet and Iron Barbs pinging off on this little critter, and any of his physical mons were just going to take big damage. But then when you had the opportunity to safely switch him out, you just sort of left him in there to die, and I was so upset.
Yeah, it was really well. I had pretty much a free switch into Slowbro, but my thinking, and it was dumb thinking, was that he was going to U-turn again because he'd been U-turning with Bravery a few times at that point. So I was thinking, oh yeah, he'll definitely U-turn and not use a really obvious close combat.
Yeah, and I'm like, he's not going to U-turn this time because he knows it's going to hurt him much more than it's going to hurt you. And then you close combat, Togedemaru down. I was so upset.
It was such a... It was that typical thing where you're doing the chess thing in your head where you're trying to predict the next turn, then the next turn, then the next turn, and you just end up over-predicting, and it was stupid.
Yeah. I was quite surprised, especially, I mean, we've watched you play for the last few weeks. You're a very big fan of Future Sight on your Slowbro, so I was quite surprised that he didn't bring any dark types to try and nullify that damage. He's basically always willing to take that Future Sight hit.
It's always a little bit, if you don't have a dark move, it is going to be rough versus... And he does have a Lowland Persian as well, which would have been perfect against the team, honestly.
Yeah, so I was quite surprised he didn't end up bringing that in the end. I thought that would have helped him out, especially knowing you with your Future Sight Slowbro.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but it is what it is. You know, I'm happy he didn't bring it.
Of course. But we'll move on to the next one. We've got the Lionheart Lucarios versus the Mighty Psyducks. This was another grudge match. This one came down fairly tight.
Yes.
This one, both teams like one team was ahead and then the other team was ahead. One team just sacked a couple of mons randomly. The other team sacked a couple of mons randomly, and then yeah, in the end, Bam came away with the win. Just managed to sort of corner Mayank and couldn't come back after that.
No. Yeah. Mayank forgetting that the priority is nullified in psychic terrain hit him badly, I think.
Yes.
I still think Bam had more control throughout the match. So even if that hadn't happened, even though it was a close match, I still would lean towards Bam. But I think that happened so early on. I think that probably caused Mayank to freak out a little bit. So not make as many clever plays as he could have if he was more calm and collected. And I think you could see that a little bit in some of the choices. But
yeah, I think forgetting that +3 priority ability from Comfy just is nullified on Psychic Terrain really hurt him. Put him on the back foot at the start there. But he did manage to bring it back for a little bit there, and
yes.
I mean, this was a hard match to watch. It was a very laggy match to watch. So there's like random segments where I'm like, I don't actually know what happened, but I'm just going to guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, just
Clowitz are actually
very,
ended up
very
putting
close.
in some work, and we had Bolthund as well. So the C tiers are once again doing the work mainly.
Yeah.
Which is always fun to see.
And then yeah, right near the end again, Mayank just comes in with extreme speed over terrain. I'm like, what are you doing? The starts and finishes his match the exact same way.
Going out with style. Let's pretend it was deliberate.
I think the pressure did get to Bam because I do feel like there was at least one or two KOs against him that could probably have been avoided, and I think he just went, stuff it, I'll sack him just in case. When he could have probably played a bit smarter, preserved them, and maybe had a bit of a bigger differential.
I think Bam was definitely a little bit worried to do hard switches this match, and was preferring to sack things rather than potentially absorb a hit with them on and get a revenge kill.
Yeah.
Or sort of kill with them.
But it was a very good match. Hard to watch just because of how it was filmed, but
it was recorded.
Yeah. But when you actually look at the plays that were done, it was quite a tight one. It's quite fun to watch outside of the technical issues. So got for the next one the Gippsland Garbadors versus the Blazing Torchics, 5-0. What can I say? Slurpuff for the win.
Yeah.
Slurpuff's one of those mons where for it to really set up and get away, you need to have the best timing. And you know what? He nailed it. Best timing.
Yeah. The minute he saw Flygon was locked in to a dragon move, he had won. That was the moment he had won the match. It's really funny because right at the beginning, he well, I can't remember the exact. Did he make the Barraskewda Cradley move again, where he got water absorbed or whatever? But right at the beginning, he got a bit freaked out.
He didn't have the sets that he wanted. He didn't have the builds on the mons that he wanted. So he was on the back foot mentally, thinking that because it wasn't the team that he'd actually prepped that he brought, that he was going to be on the back foot. But yeah, locking in a dragon
if you're on the
move,
back foot and getting in 5-0.
Yeah, he was on the mental back foot. He wasn't actually on the back foot, but yeah. Slurpuff named Brian came in, set up just like Brian does, and just came away, just played rough with everyone until they died.
Yeah. Such a good mon if it can get his belly drum off, because then you have the unburdened speed boost as well. It's like a really overpowered dragon dance.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that was crazy.
I thought it was
Um,
very risky. As soon as I saw that Flygon was locked into that dragon move, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
this is not going
it's,
to
it's
end well.
yeah, it's almost nothing he could do at that stage because he would have to switch to like anything, and that gives Slurpuff a turn to Belly Drum, but then allows it to outspeed everything on his team and outdamage it. It's just yeah, it was a nightmare. The thing that I probably would have tried to do in that situation was switch straight to Volcarona and hope. Sorry,
Even though,
sorry about that. And switch to Volcarona and
yeah,
hope for the flame body burn. That's what I would have tried to do. But
yeah,
like that is such a desperate
that is a desperate
solution.
play. Yeah, I mean, he did
Yeah.
try for the Volcarona Flame Body after losing 2 Mons initially, but
Yeah.
you get one shot for that to proc, and after that, that's it pretty
Yeah.
much.
But
And
that was basically his only choice. Like his whole team was just completely
yeah,
destroyed by Slurpuff.
Snorlax was the only one able to tank one hit, but that was it, one hit,
Yeah.
and all it could do was break the sub, and then that was it, game over.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
was
no,
just
that
getting
was
that Aurora Veil up as well,
mm.
just
I mean
just
that
to
was
keep that
probably one
substitute
of the
up,
yeah,
because
one
I
of the
think the sub would
strongest
have broken on the
matches.
rock slide.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm.
If he managed to get the burn off, he maybe could have handled Slurpuff. But I mean, he would have been on the back foot after that. Even Scotty just had control pretty much after a few
From the
turns in the
moment he was able
beginning.
to set up, yeah.
Yeah,
As
it was
soon as that
Aurora
sub
Veil,
got
really.
laid
I
down.
think. Yeah, yeah, it was just crazy. It was a great match,
Yeah.
very entertaining.
I think if Kling Klang hadn't been the first one to die, maybe something could have been done. But yeah,
Hmm.
it would have had to have still tanked a draining punch.
Yeah, depends if it had any status moves on it. I don't remember.
Yeah,
He had
but
to sub up.
even
No,
maybe that.
yeah, it's just, Scotty had this under so much control. Even like
Yeah,
I can't even think what
he didn't even
what Matt
realize
would
he
have
had it
done.
in under control until he had it under
Until
control.
it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, Slurpuff comes in, sets up sub, sets up belly drum, and just wipes everything.
yeah. I love Slurpuff. It's such a cool mon.
Next up, we've got the Utah Muse versus the San Diego Wingulls. 0-3 to the Utah Muse, so a 3+3 win for the San Diego Wingulls. She's brought pretty much the same, well, actually, I think exactly the same team as last week. I think the
Yeah.
first week she brought Skuntank in place of, I think it was Wheezing, but
Mm-hmm.
this week's the exact same as last week on the teams.
I can understand why she went for Wheezing rather than Skuntank at least because of the levitate, but yeah, no. Kazim playing strong as usual. I think he had control pretty much this whole match as well.
Yeah.
The Utah Muse were a little bit on the back foot, which is understandable during Kazim's because his Pokemon are just so. I mean, we have the Weavile there putting on the pressure as always. You know, Excadrill, Gigalith.
Yeah.
Is a very strong team to face against.
This is the third week in a row I'm pretty sure that she's led with Salamence, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. And yeah, it's just reaching the point where you're able to really, if you've paid any attention to her previous matches, you can now quite comfortably read exactly what she's going to do. So leading the same Pokemon, I think, yeah, straight away Wigglytuff came out instead of switching out because Fairy type, Ice type move on that was always going to do big damage to Salamence. She left it in initially, let it take a lot of damage before she switched it out. And yeah, because I think just becoming predictable, bringing the whole same team each time. It's like not really prepping against the opponent, just trying to rely on what
Yeah.
you're
So
comfortable with.
if you're watching this, Regan, we recommend trying to switch it up a bit and allow a surprise because, well, this is how Wigglytuff managed to get the grass knot on Quagsire, which was a really awesome move, I think.
Yes.
Catching that Quagsire off guard. Was it grass knot? It was definitely
It
a
was
grass
grass
move.
knot, yes.
Yeah, that was really peak. Like, I remember Kasim being like, I'm going to show you that Wigglytuff can work. And we're all like, nah, what can Wigglytuff do? That was awesome. Wigglytuff casually just punching out a Salamence and a Quagsire like it's nobody's business. Just its creepy grin on its face.
Yeah, I don't know if I have much left on this one. But
I think that summed up pretty much everything I was
that's
thinking
pretty
as
much
well.
like what I can sum it up. It's just, unfortunately the U-Time U's are just not showing anything different at the moment. So it's now making it quite easy for her opponents to set up. I mean, it means that as well, she's got the advantage that when she does change it up, it's going to catch people off guard.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really a tactic that I'd rely on for a draft league.
No.
And that was it for Red Division.
That was...
So we will move on to Blue. The first matchup we're going to talk about is the Fire Corviknights versus the Ottawa Superiors. This was a fairly tight match, a 1-0 win to the Fire Corviknights.
I almost thought Serene Grey Skuntank was going to come in at the end there. It came down to Corviknight versus Skuntank, and I just saw the flinch on the first Dark Pulse from Skuntank, and I was like, oh, here we go again. But no, it ended up going to the Fire Corviknights, with Corviknight securing the win.
Yeah. I thought Fire Corviknights played a little bit conservatively. I think that, they could probably have been a bit more aggressive there. But, he still pulled away with the win, so maybe it worked out. Yeah. I did think it was risky when had Corviknight out, gone for the taunt towards the end. Like, he'd done the same move earlier on in the match. Surprised that he thought that Corviknight would fall for another taunt, especially right at the end there. Corviknight versus Skuntank.
Yeah.
Corviknight just had to deal damage at that point. It wasn't going to do anything. It wasn't going to roost or bulk up or anything like that. It was always just going to come in and do damage. So
yeah,
waited the chance of maybe getting some more Serene Grace flinches off, but
I mean,
probably
in
just
reality,
was going to stall out the end of the match, to be honest.
Skuntank was always going to lose there, probably. So, unless insane luck. I think the biggest misplay was losing the Slurpuff to the Vanillux. I think most Vaniluxes really do carry... I've forgotten the name, the steel move.
Flash Cannon,
special
wasn't it?
steel move.
Yep.
Flash Cannon, yeah.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, the Fire Corviknights still had Chandelure. So Slurpuff's Play Rough and Drain Punch, I suppose with +4, but obviously it resists Play Rough and Drain Punch ain't hitting Chandelure, so it was always going to be a bit risky to try set up Slurpuff with Chandelure sitting around as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
setting up Slurpuff in front of Vanillux, both with a Vanillux that's about to set up an Aurora Veil, so severely weakening the damage output that Slurpuff could do, and then coming into Belly Drum against a mon that you pretty much guarantee is going to have a Steel type move. That was very reckless.
That was the biggest mistake of the match, and probably cost the match.
That's what happens when your Slurpuff is not named Brian.
Named Brian. Yeah, that was great.
And I did find it very weird when Chandelure got switched in just literally to die on Stealth Rocks. I thought that, why bother at that point?
Yeah.
Like, it just
Why not keep the differential?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, Chandelure wasn't going to come back. He had nothing to get rid of the rocks, but it could have helped with differential at the end. This could have been a 2-0 instead, but
Mhm.
no. Send out Chandelure and just died straight away. Send out another Mon instead.
Mhm.
PKS Noobs Kings versus the Sneaky Sableyes. This was another match that I thought was going to be a lot tighter than it ended up being.
Mm.
But given that Lior is last season's champion, I am not surprised that he did come away with a win here. Just trying to find the
Yeah.
match.
I mean, I think in this matchup as well, I think Leo's team has definitely matched up better than Roots's for this particular match anyway.
Mm.
So I just really like I really like Leo's team here in general. Mamoswine is always going to do like crazy damage, but we also saw Leo finally using his Clefable. Well, he's been using his Clefable, but this is the match where I think it really shone. Or shone? It really shone well. Clefable did really well as well, and I just don't think Roots really had much that was able to deal with Clefable. I mean, if you look at his team here, like none of these can deal with Clefable particularly well. So I think, as I say, I think in terms of the actual team matchup for this particular match, even if you like take skill or whatever, and the fact that he's previous champion, I think this was always in Leo's advantage.
Yeah. Um, Jinx coming in trying to lovely kiss and missed a couple of times was a bit fun.
Yeah,
Um, there were there was he pulled off a trick room at least twice, and I did coming Sneaky Sableyes doing a couple of trick rooms, but at the same time I was thought of like I was pretty sure that at the times the speed tiers worked in Noobs King's Leor's favor,
yeah,
so I thought that the trick rooms just sort of seemed a little bit ill-timed and maybe inappropriate for what he was trying to do at the time. It just sort of gave
yeah,
Leor the advantage more so than himself.
yeah. Trick rooms are always going to be a little bit hard to pull off, especially against someone like Leo. So in theory, you could think, oh, I'll pull up a trick room, get my slowest mon, Rhyperior or something out, or use Jinx to try sweep. But it's like Leo instantly knew what to do when those trick rooms were up and added the pressure onto Roots, and it's just a little bit hard for Roots to even take advantage of his own trick room.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I
yeah.
think Leo definitely had control.
We had the Nevada County Caterpies, Season 2 champ, Season 3 runner-up, versus the Anaheim Appletons. This was the match I was looking forward to the most this week. 2-3 loss to the Appletons. So just really a one differential there, but with another 5 minutes on the match on the clock, we knew it was Andy's game regardless. But
Andy had won by that point,
yeah,
but it was
100%.
such a close match before then.
Mm,
Um,
this was just both of them had teams so well matched for each other. It really did come down to what happens in the first turns. They both knew exactly what the opponent was going to do, and it just came down to who built their team and utilized it the best. And
yeah,
seeing Weavile pickpocket the Eviolite off Valaby just after
that
Valaby
was
hadn't
so
knocked
good.
off Weavile's focus sash, that was just the most brilliant combo that I'd seen in a long time. Just
You could really tell that was, when so many people plan moves for matches, they say, oh, I'll have this mon do this, that, and you often have to then make it up on the fly because it never goes as you predict in the match.
yeah,
This was one of those moves that went exactly how he predicted. So that was really cool to see.
yeah.
And the crazy thing is that, from what I understand, at least as far as I know, Andy hasn't been doing trials at all. So he's just been thinking this, just off the top of his head. He's been trying to think, how will this go down in the match, and just pulling it off. I think it's really impressive.
I'd actually like to talk to Jeff and see if he has been doing any trials for his match as well, because I know he knows his stuff. So it'd be interesting to see whether he does practice any matchups, or whether he purely just goes like Andy, just goes off the knowledge that he has of his mons and the mons on his opponent's side. Having
That's the
Amoonguss with
difference.
Stomping Tantrum deliberately
that was
just to
so
counter
good.
Salazzle,
Yeah.
and Jeff knowing that was probably what was going to happen, but also having safety goggles on to try and counter Amoonguss. It's just both of them trying to outthink each other, and both of them being very, very, very clued into what the potentials of their opponents could be.
For sure. Yeah. And I remember, if you watched the match, he even, when he had the Salazzle out, he even said, before Andy used it, I wonder if he will have Stomping Tantrum. So he had thought about it. So yeah, it was a really entertaining match.
I do recommend for this match, watch it from both sides, because the commentary from both sides is quite eye-opening for anyone who's still new to the battle scene. You can learn a lot from watching both of these
Definitely
from behind the scenes. So, timer match, another one. The Bow Russian Boltons versus the Ankara Arcanines. The Arcanines coming away with a 3-2 win. Timer battle again, down to the 1 differential.
Yeah. We could see here, just the only really offensive mon here we have is on the Ankara Arcanines, is got Noivern and Gallade, and then the rest are all sort of walls here. So it was always going to be a little bit hard for the Bow Russian Boltons to push through, which have a far more offensive team in comparison. So it's all about the switches and stuff. And the ones that really could have done the work in terms of taking out the Ankara Arcanines, like Swoobat, I think they all went down, sadly. So it was it did come down to a more defensive played match.
We saw a couple of freezes, a couple of freezes, para proc as well through this one. I thought Rotom probably could have set up a little bit, knowing that right after Blissy's wish that went off, so anything it was going to do was pretty much going to be nullified. He could have used that turn to build up a bit of extra bulk on it as such, but didn't really pan out, I guess.
Ended up going down to the Noivern through So I do think the
just trying to freeze dry everything. Lapras came in and KO'd both Skarmory and Gallade, and I thought both of those probably could have been avoided, because neither of them really did too much to sort of chip Lapras down.
Yeah. Well, especially with Skarmory being more specially weak. I was surprised that stayed in, but I don't remember the match that well, unfortunately. So I'm going mostly off notes, and you can't remember the intricacies of the notes.
Yep, same here.
Yeah. But I mean, he still had Blissey, right? So Blissey would have taken freeze dry a lot better than Skarmory had. Could have had a higher differential, but there might have been a reason for that I'm missing in the notes here. So
yeah. Well, right near the end of the match, Blissey came in and was just protect, wish, protect. Then got frozen, and then frozen for a couple of turns, and then wish, protect, toxic, and then the match ended. So just towards the end, like the last 5 or 6 turns, was just classic Harun just stalling out everything.
That wouldn't be a theme, would it?
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
No spoilers for what's happening next week, eh?
Don't watch Harren's next match, guys. I highly recommend against it. Just watch our discussion on the recap about it next week.
Yeah, or just skip to the last 30 seconds. Well, we're going to move on. So,
Move on,
the
yeah.
Dragonites versing the Holy Crusaders. 3-0 win to the Dragonites.
I really want to see Cottony work, but why does it keep coming and dying instantly?
Yep, 3 words I have. Cottony did nothing. I'm like, it's a prankster.
Yeah.
It's got potential to really be more useful than it has been, but it just hasn't been useful.
Holucha as well. I'm starting to think he might be best for him to trade that. It's both Bam and Hassan here have not had any luck with the Holucha doing anything really for the whole draft. You know.
I thought it was really weird. So Holy Crusaders brought out their attacking Meowstic.
Yeah.
Did a little bit of damage. Sizer comes in, sets up Psychic Terrain. Meowstic sets up Psychic Terrain in front of Sizer, which, as we generally know, often packs knockoff, and just instantly dive to it, even behind.
Even if it doesn't have knockoff, it has things like U-turn. I don't know. I can see the play with Psychic Terrain. He thinks it's going to bullet punch, but I think players like the Dragon Knights, Jeremy, he's going to know that the Psychic Terrain is an option to come up, and you just know that a knockoff or a U-turn is going to KO just as well as a bullet punch will.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I think that was definitely a misplay on the Holy Crusaders' part there. I mean, Sizzle has so much that can deal with Meowstic just staying in at all. But then, I mean, if you look at his team here, he had almost nothing that can be on Sizzle particularly well. So I don't know. It was a little bit rough for the Holy Crusaders, I guess.
Yeah.
In
Scissor
that regard.
ended up being MVP for this match, just cleaning up the majority of the Holy Crusaders.
Yeah.
Hippopotamus being a little bit more useful this time at least. It got Stealth Rocks up and managed to actually Toxic something. But still a very underpowered one for, especially given he's got half his C, or the majority of his C tier as first evolutions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just feels.
As I said before, Hippopotamus has a place in sand teams, but I really don't see much use being. I mean, there are better rocks and rocks and ground types even in C tier than Hippopotamus. I don't know. I think that was a bit of a weird drafting decision. Same with Cottony. Like, both of them potentially have their uses. Cottony with his prankster, Hippopotamus with its sand, rocks, and all that. But you need more team synergy for them to be useful, I think. And having 2 out of your 6 mons basically be, they do one thing, then they die. Against things like Scizor, Garchomp, Rotom, it's just not going to work. We don't even really have any walls or tanky mons on the Holy Crusaders team here either, so he couldn't even safely switch into anything.
Yeah. But that's it for the rundown for the weekly matchups. We're going to move over to the kill leaderboard because it has changed fairly dramatically.
The Weavile
Mamoswine
leaderboard
is still up there. It picked up 1 extra kill this week, but yeah, it just did so well in that first week. It's taken 2 entire weeks for it to drop off first position, really.
Yeah, with both Weaviles aiming to dethrone it.
Yep. It's going to come down to
really
Weavile
catching up.
versus Weavile when it comes to the kill leaderboard, I think, before the end of this draft. Uh, I love that Bronzong is on here.
I think you mean body press. That's what it was doing to get them. Body press the Pokemon.
Iron Defense
But
body
no.
press everything. But it works.
Yeah,
Got him on the kill
it works.
leaderboard.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got like some pretty cool ones on here. I mean, most of them are like fairly standard, but like I like that, you know, Indeedee's here, Bronzong, Slurpuff, Golurk. Yeah, no, it's really cool ones.
Yeah. Clefable on
So
there as well. I think it's really funny, especially when you see mons that are not exactly like ones that you'd see come into sweep that still manage to somehow sneak on the board. It always amuses me.
yeah, Clefable's awesome. Yeah, Leo making really good use of Clefable this week sort of made it very much get onto the leaderboard
Yeah.
thanks to his performance.
And those niche mons finally dropping off. We've said say goodbye to Jinx this week being on the leaderboard.
It's so sad to lose Jinx. I want your prediction. By the end of the draft, whose Weavile do you think is going to be higher? Because we've got San Diego Wingull. Kasim's Weavile has one more kill, but he's also got a death, whereas Andy's of the Nevada County Caterpies haven't even got a death yet. So they
And
technically have the same differential.
yeah, and Andy's one wasn't even on his team until week 2, so
Week
that's
2
2 weeks of
work to
damage
get
of
6.
work to get it there. Oh, it's going to be a tough one. I can't imagine Andy's not going to take advantage of his Weavile wherever and whenever he can to just go in and
Yeah.
rack up a heap of damage. So probably more leaning towards Andy just because he's got the experience to be able to bring it in to really be the MVP for his team. But Kasim's really put his one to use as well. So
yeah. It's just crazy. 7 kills for both Mammosoin and Weavile when we only had 3 weeks of matches. It goes to show you how much work they're really doing.
I mean, Mammosoin did all of his work in week 1, but still.
Yeah, in week 1, 1 match. Yeah. And then we have Scotty of the Gippsland Garbadors sneaking in 3 whole spots on the bottom there.
Slurpuff putting in all the work this week.
Yeah. But Bronzong is definitely the most interesting one on the board there, I think.
Yeah, that's his kill leader overall, and then to make it to 6th place on the kill leaderboard by week 3.
Yeah.
I wonder if it will stay on there. That will be an interesting one to see if it stays on the leaderboard. But once again, probably more of a niche mon. Definitely not meant to be like a setup sweeper mon. So I imagine it'll drop off in the next few weeks. But it'll be interesting to see if it stays up there. He's definitely making his Bronzong work so far the last few matches.
I certainly wouldn't discount it.
No.
Go on, Appletons. I want to see weakness policy sweeping Bronzong. Don't do that. Stick to your iron defense body press. That's probably your best option.
And just so everyone knows what the trades are for the coming weeks, so this is what trades will be finalised for this upcoming week. So you can see the Lionheart Lucarios are dropping 2 of their mons. They're dropping out Sableye, bringing in Taurus, dropping out Vaporeon, bringing in Slowking. The Ducks are trading in for Blossom and Kommo-o. I'm really looking forward to seeing Bam using his Kommo-o because it is one of his favourite mons. I think Hawlucha was a little really underpowered for his team and his playstyle. Pretty much, one trick wonder in regards to how you really use Hawlucha. There's not too much versatility in regards to what builds and
it can really work, but it's just when you know it's coming and stuff, it's really hard to pull off. And I do think that I think it's been a little bit underpowered this draft compared to the other S tiers. So I think Como was the right choice.
Yeah. and can go special. It can go physical. So yeah, it's got a lot more versatility in the Horlucha. So will be interesting to see how that one gets pulled off for this coming week.
Buzz making 3 trades here. One thing that it should be noted: Reelaboom and Slowking were his kill leaders. They had 4 kills each, and he's traded both of them. You could tell he's gone for a rain team here. So he's got Aegislash in, but the important ones is he's got Pelipper and Kingdra in. So he's trying to change things up a bit. But I really don't know if trading out Reelaboom and Slowking, who are both excellent ones, for a rain team was the right choice. We'll definitely have to see. I'm very interested to see how this works out for him. And then we have Mayank of the Lionheart Lucario is very much making use of the fact that Slowking has been made free and trading in Vaporeon for Slowking. And I do think Slowking is probably better than Vaporeon. So I think that was the right choice.
Who have we got? Oh, Barrascuda swapping out with Scolipede instead for the Gippsland Garbadors. So I'm a bit sad to see Barrascuda go. I quite like it as a mon.
Yeah.
Plus it ruins half my jokes that it's not on the team anymore. But Scolipede, yeah, I think it's got the potential to put in quite a bit of work. It can be predictable on its initial entry in. It really does need those at least a speed boost or 2 to really sort of get it going. But yeah, try and just go
I think Scott is probably just sick of water absorb, which is quite.
But I'm just having a quick look at his team, and I don't think he had any poison types. So having Scolipede come in will give him
that's massive.
give him that bit of extra coverage that he was missing before.
Yeah, having an offensive poison type, especially a speedy one, is really useful. Scolipede's raw base attack, even if you don't Source Dance it, is really high. So having something like that with speed boost, Scolipede is awesome. I mean, there's a reason it's a high tier.
Yeah.
I really like it. Also, Bam here going for Blossom as well. Blossom is really cool. I did not know that it got Quiver Dance until recently. So you get Quiver Dance and you get Strength Sap. You can have some really interesting plays there.
So it wouldn't surprise me to see Blossom. Well, I'm expecting to see Blossom and Kommo-o pretty much coming in for the week 4 match. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in the week ahead, because we do have a lot of trades for on the red division, and some of them have been pretty strong key mons that have been swapped out. So it will be interesting to see the changes those make to those teams as well.
I think Buzz and Ducks will not play like how we've seen so far. They will basically almost be a bit different teams to what we've seen before. So, yeah, definitely interesting.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it for the weekly recap for week 3 of PTG Draft League. Any last comments or anything else you wanted to say before we head off?
No, just thank you very much for joining us for this video. We're glad that you guys are watching. We enjoy making it for you.
Yeah, and hopefully, I mean, we're still trying. Hopefully we'll have a guest commentator in with us next week. We were trying to get Bam, but family matters first. So yeah,
he dared put his family before Pokemon.
He's a new dad. We've got to cut him some slack. But yeah, hopefully next week we'll have someone else to fill in with us as well. So we'll see you then.
See you later, guys. Thank you for watching.